So welcome everybody to the Apex Sniper Bootcamp tutorial series. And as always, we've got to put up our disclosures here. And understanding that trading involves risk, make sure you know what you're doing before you do it. And again, Bootcamp tutorial series. What this is, as you know, if you've been with us before, this is for new traders and Bootcamp trial members. Obviously, anyone can join us if you've been around for a while and you're a veteran, but these tutorials are not, advanced next level trainings. These are basically for brand new traders or those of you that are on our free trials. The sniper training program is a great program, great training course, but it can at times be overwhelming and a lot to take in. And so what these are for is to kind of just go through some very basic, the back ends, the very basics, understanding the why behind things, help you get some of the basics down so that you can go back and re-watch, some of those regular training videos, and they might make a little more sense to you, some light bulbs going off and some things clicking there. I always kind of approach this as you're still in your first couple of weeks here. Greg says it helps us old farts too. Well, that's good. That's good. It's always good, no matter how long you've been around, to review some basics. But help us out here today. We are going to be covering obstructions and how to use large charts. So if we can just we got a lot of people on here, and if we can just help keep the questions focused on what it is we're covering, that will help us get through that. For those of you that might have missed some of the previous boot camps, just real quick here, if you're on the Apex homepage and you just scroll right down here to Sniper Bootcamp Trading and click that. This is the sniper training page, where this has the complete step-by-step training course on bootcamp and our sniper trades. But if you go, first of all, right here to number 2 and click that, that shows you all the upcoming webinars and tutorials. You can get signed up for those. But if you scroll all the way down towards the bottom of the page, the third from the last one is right here, tutorials. If you click that, here's all the recording of the tutorials. Right here is where today's tutorial will be posted. So if you want to check, rewatch this video or go back and check some. If you're brand new, if you're on a boot camp or on a trial, if you haven't watched these videos, literally stop what you're doing. If it means you can't even trade tomorrow, fine. Watch these videos or spend the weekend and catch up on these. They will really, really help you out and help you get down some of the basic stuff here. Okay. Some very good good walkthroughs there. Yep, thank you guys, getting some good feedback here. The webinars are great. Finished all the tutorials, they're awesome. That is great. Michael says there a way you can label the tutorials on the website. Oh, you mean with yeah, I can do that. I know what you mean, Michael, saying which one covers which. Absolutely. Yep, we can do that. Absolutely. So that is what a boot camp is, and it's all about helping raise the grade, depending on how long you've been trading, how far along you are in boot camp, your experience. Some of you say, oh, I'd grade myself at a, B, C, D. Our goal with the tutorials here is to help get you up through those grades and get you to a B. Okay, it's kind of in your hands to get yourself to an A grade. Only you can do that. We're here to help, but, only you can take it to that next level. Next week, we're going to do a tutorial about, some tips to get you from a B to an A and what steps you have to take kind of from there. So make sure to be on that tutorial next week. I just want to say congratulations. I know many of you might have been on our webinar last night, but again, just want to say congratulations. We have a lot of people that are getting funded with their Lilu funded accounts. We got a lot of traders getting their 3 a day and done every single day in the elite room. One quick thing here, I know some of you are like, well, I'm in the elite room every day, but something we're seeing is Daryl and Lori are in there early, starting off right at the open about 9:30. And I've seen many days by 10:30 they've called out trades. Everybody's getting their 3 and done, and they're about wrapped up, and then like a whole new wave of you come in around 10:30 or even 11, and you're like, well, I'm just getting here, I missed it. And you're really missing out if you're not getting in there for the full session. Okay, so make sure to be in there early each and every day to not miss out. But then don't stay in there all day, and don't stay in front of your charts all day, demo and sim mode. Get your 3 and done, do a little practice, and then go educate yourself. Step away from the computer, take a break, watch videos, watch some of these tutorials, learn, train. Don't just be in sim all day. All right, mix it up a little bit, and make sure to educate yourself there. Speaking of Lilu, any of you that are on Lilu, I'm going to go through a couple little house cleaning things here, and then we'll jump in. You're probably aware, you've probably seen the messages and the emails that there is an update. I'm going to post some of this info right now in the chat section with these links. Okay, you need to upgrade to the new version of the RTrader Pro. There's some of the info there. You should have seen this in email from us, email from Lilu, some of the message centers. All of you should have this info, but I did just go ahead and pop all those links right here in the chat. Okay, so check that out. Make sure that you are getting upgraded there. Okay. If y'all are on the webinar last night, Daryl covered this as well. I just want to recover it again because there were some questions. Our biggest goal right now is, we've offered these free trials, we've offered the free boot camp. We've set you up with these tutorials, we've set you up with Lilu to help you get a funded account. Our main goal right now is to get you up and going and help you get funded with Lilu so you have a live trading account. Okay. But as some of you know, you've got certain limitations on your withdrawals every month from Lilu until your 3rd or 4th month there. And we're trying to do everything we can here to get you to that point, to help you invest in your business, get you to that point where you can make those larger withdrawals. And so Daryl has made up a couple of discount packages that y'all have asked about, and I just want to show you where those are real quick here. If you're on the homepage of the Apex website, okay, and you go right here, okay, go right here to sign up for any plan or product. Okay, he's put several packages here. There's some annual packages, some lifetime and platinum packages, all with big discounts, $2,000 off, all that kind of stuff. And if y'all want to take advantage of that, go for it. But the main package that he's put together, or a couple of them to look at here, is we've got a gold for silver pricing, okay, to where you can get the gold membership for the silver pricing. But right here, gold for silver pricing and 1 month free. Basically, the gold package is normally $300 a month. What this is basically a 4-month package. Okay, but instead of being $1,200, it's half price for only $600. Okay, so basically for $600, that gets you through that 4 month. A lot of people are focused on, hey, how do I just want to invest in my business to get me to this 4-month mark. So I've got Lilu, I've got funding, I can get to those withdrawals, I've got the Apex stuff. And so we made up a special package there, $600, it gets you 4 months, and then after that, starts at $200 a month instead of the $300 a month for the gold. Okay, so you get the gold for the price of the silver. So that's where that is right there. Okay, and what that package is. Now, I don't know exactly how long we're going to run this special or how long this is going to be available. So a lot of people are saying, hey, I want to take advantage of this, but I'm 3 weeks into my boot camp. Okay, so on boot camp, I got 30 days free. I got a month free. And then after boot camp, I know I can sign up and get that $1 trial for another 30 days before I start paying the $200. So some of you have said, for example, hey, I'm 3 weeks into boot camp. So I've got another free week. And then I can pay another $1 and get another 4 weeks. So I've got another free 5 weeks basically coming to me. I don't really want to sign up and pay and lose out on those 5 weeks free. But I also don't want to lose out on this deal. So what we announced last night on the webinar was, look, if you want to go ahead and take advantage of this, go ahead and sign up now. Even if you're on your trial or boot camp, sign up now and then submit a ticket. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll extend your billing by however much time you have left. For example, if you're on your 3rd week of boot camp, you have 1 more week of free boot camp, And then you have like 4 more weeks you can get on that dollar trial. So you kind of have 5 more weeks of trial. Well, if you sign up for this, it'll charge you $600 and that'll cover you for the next 4 months. And then it's $200 a month. Well, what we'll do is we'll just add 5 more weeks onto that, and you won't get charged that first $200 for, 5 weeks after that. So it's basically giving you access for 5.5 months, or however far along you are. If you've already paid the dollar trial for 30 days and you're 2 weeks into that, fine. Sign up for this, send us a help desk ticket and say so. We'll cancel your other billing. We'll add a couple weeks onto this here at the end. We want to make sure that you don't lose out on any trial free time. We don't want you to lose out on this deal. We want to get you there. Okay? So check out these deals. There's titanium, lifetimes, platinums, annuals, semi-annuals, all kind of stuff you can do. But if you're just looking for right now to get you through these next few months, this is the package right here. Send us a ticket. We'll extend you whatever, free boot camp or dollar trial time you might still have left. Okay? So that makes sense. Take advantage of that and don't miss out. Markers Plus. If y'all are on the webinar last night, by the way, if you did not see the webinar last night, check it out. It was really great. I'm going to put the link for it right here in the chat. Okay. Daryl showed you some, there was a new toolkit released. He showed you some of the new indicators we released, the detector indicators that, show you trade setup number 4, right? It detects it, it gives you an alert for it, lets you know when it's happening. He walked you through that. That was awesome. Now the detectors are not, you won't see the detectors available to you if you're only on the free boot camp. Okay, if you're on a paid trial or a paid membership, you'll see that. All right, but some great stuff that he showed you last night. And not only are those detectors there to be able to see these trades and get alerts of these trades. TZ says, yep, we got 2 winners on the number 4 on NQ this morning. Awesome. TZ, were you using the new template, that the detectors that showed you the trade, that gave you an alert and popped it up and set, there you go, right? Got 2 winners this morning, okay? But it's also set up to be able to work with the auto trading, the semi-automatic trading software. Now some of you said, hey, and part of this is my fault, because in the beginning of these tutorials, I told several of y'all, don't worry about this right now, or don't worry about the auto trading software right now. You need to focus on learning the system, okay? I didn't want you to run out and buy the semi-automatic trading software on your first day or your first week, because if you don't understand what's going on behind these trades, if you don't understand how to do the trades in the first place, the software is not going to help you. You know what I mean? It's just going to be overwhelmed. You're going to skip some very necessary steps. All right. Any of y'all using the software know how great it is, but I told you not to do it because I don't want you running out spending money on the software until you even understand what the heck you're doing. Okay, because the software is designed to help you get into these trades once you have a good understanding of what the trades even are. Okay, and ultimately the auto trading software, it's just there to help you enter the trades. Okay, where your entry is there waiting so that you can focus more on watching the markets, looking at obstructions, looking what's around you. Should I take this trade or not? Otherwise, you get so focused on, oh, I got to move my mouse over here and find this and click this and get a trade ready, to where you're taken away from looking at the markets, or you're taken away from asking those questions we talked about, right? So I did tell you, hold off. Don't jump in and get this auto software, okay? So that was, I don't want to say my mistake, but that was my fault, because I specifically told you as a newbie, don't go spend money on this software and try to use it until you know what you're doing, okay? But some people took that as, well, I'm a few weeks into it, or I'm now on my dollar trial, but John told me I couldn't do it. It's not that you can't. You can. You can absolutely, whether you're on boot camp or on your dollar trial, you can go in and purchase the Markers Plus software, get the semi-auto trading software, and start using it now, okay? Some people have said, well, can I use this with Lilu? Absolutely, you can use the trading software for your Lilu account and why you're trying to pass your Lilu exam and get funded. So, you know, if you're tired of missing some trades or market's fast sometimes, if you want this, you can get it. I just didn't want you getting it on your first day or your first week when you didn't even know what the heck you were doing, because you'll spend all your time trying to figure out the software for a couple of days instead of focusing on learning the trade setups. Does that make sense? Why I steered you away from it your first day or your first week? Because I wanted you to focus on what you were doing, okay? But if you're into it a few weeks now and you've been through these tutorials and training, if you feel like, hey, I've got a pretty good handle on this system, I want to get this software and let it start, you know, placing these trades for me, you can do it. Even if you're on a boot camp, even if you're on a trial, you know, there's special discounts for Apex members there. Where do you get that? Well, again, if you go here to the home page of the website, excuse me. If you get to the home page and you just go right here, the automation section, okay? So you can check it out there. I just want to clear that up because there's been a little confusion about, well, John told me not to do it, but other people, well, I want it. Well, that's why. Didn't want you on it your first day or first week. But now that you've been through all this, even if you're on boot camp, if you want it, get it. Okay? So, Richard, if you have any questions, pretty much everything is covered in the video here if you go through and watch the video. If you have other questions that, you can submit a ticket though. But pretty much every question is covered here, and there's a big FAQ section that covers everything as well. Okay? So, let's see here. So that is that. All right. So also these here, these marker boards. Okay, we talked about these before on last week's tutorial. You've probably seen them in some of Daryl's webinars as well. These, I think we got about 1,000 of them that we ordered, and they just came in a few days ago. And as Daryl mentioned last night, he's got his wife Jackie and Felicity and Judah all helping out, package these things up. These are all being mailed out to you. Some of you probably already got these. The second wave is going to be headed out this week, so you will see these. So make sure though, especially if you're new or not new, but make sure to go right here to your profile and make sure you have your correct mail-in address in there, because whatever mail-in address is in here, Daryl's going to download it, print those labels, shoot them out to you. Okay, so if you want one of those, make sure that your address is updated there. Okay, Brian says took a number 4 just now. Perfect. Number 4 was just triggered with the trading assistant and took prop. Awesome. Literally while we're right here talking, and since we covered it, a couple people are like, hey, just took one of those number 4s that has a detector that pops up and shows you there's a potential trade, took it on auto trading, profitable. That is awesome. Okay. Richard, if you ask about that in the elite room, they can show you how to take care of that. Okay. Roger, I don't have all the details or actually the time today to go over all the Lilu withdrawal policies, and they're a little different based on which one you signed up with, but they are covered there in that video. Also, I know Lilu can shoot that to you. Okay. Let's see here. Michael says I understand we need to leave NT data connected during the trading week to get all the OP data, but if we just have ES charts open, will NQOP also be updated? No, Michael, is every week on Friday or sometimes it's Saturday, Daryl updates the new order prints download information, which will give you that whole past week on all the different instruments. But if you only have your charts open on ES, it's not going to also plot in Q. It's only going to plot whatever chart you have. Okay? All right, so let's move forward here. Yes, in T7 with the Lilu. Okay, so if you have questions on Lilu, go ahead and check out the funding video right here. Okay, just real quick here, because I know, guys, several questions are coming in. But so right here, if you want information about the auto trader, okay, right here, all right, the automation. If you have questions about Lilu and the funding accounts, go right here under Get Funding. And again, if you want to check out the new release that came out last night for the sniper trade number 4 and the detectors and the auto trading with that, I just put the link again right there to check out last night's webinar. But great stuff. I love that. We just released it last night, showed you last night, just a couple of quick rules, boom, done. That was probably the easiest trade setup you've learned, right? It was like, here it is, it pops up and tells you it's there. And Daryl went through like 2 rules and back tested it and was like, do you take this one? Yes. Do you take this one? No. Done. I mean, it was like, don't take it with empty air, take it bouncing off a wall. Done. Showed you last night. You're already saying today, got 2 winners this morning, got 2 winners this morning, boom, another one just now. It's great. Oh, awesome, Ronald. Ronald says, using that, just got my last trade for Lilu funding. Awesome, man. Awesome. So check that out, guys. Great stuff to take advantage of. So do that. Okay, that was the housekeeping stuff. Let's move on. So last tutorial, we talked about routine and focus. Okay, and we went through morning schedules. Who had time to kind of go through and think about that and rework your routine, your pre-trading routine? Remember, I kind of broke it down for you that with trading, you've got 2 different part-time jobs, right? Your first part-time job was to prepare for trading properly before the trading session. Prepare yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, be ready to go. Your second part-time job was to execute that trading session. Okay, did that help you guys at all? Have y'all been able to implement that since our last tutorial? We had a little more time between this one and the last one. Really wanted to see if y'all could spend some time over this last weekend and rework your schedule a little bit. Really start putting that into play the last few days of preparing yourself properly before the trading session. Okay, and then we also talked about those questions, right? During your second part-time job, when you're executing the trade session, we talked about really narrowing it down to those questions, asking yourself these questions 1,000 times a day. You know, having these rules right in front of you and understanding the obstructions and so on. Were y'all able to do that? Did that help you? Okay, great. Y'all are sitting there saying, yes, I did exercise and meditate. It helped a lot. Spent all weekend working on it. I started getting up earlier. Yesterday was the best prep day and the best trading day I ever had. Christopher, that is awesome. All right, Joe says, absolutely. It's a great help for the last couple of days. Implemented it so far. Yeah, worked mini tramp in my trade room. First help. Been doing your suggestion the last 2 mornings. Really helped me. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Okay, best week I've had. Good, very good. Yep, sorry, went forward there. So good. I wanted you to spend some time really thinking that out. But you have 2 different part-time jobs, prepping yourself for the trading session, focusing on the trading session, and using all those questions we've talked about. The questions that are on those marker boards. Is the market trending? Is it divergent? Is it range bound? Do I have obstructions? We talked about printing out the rules and having those behind you and just figuring out what condition is the market in. Then I know exactly what I'm looking for. I know exactly what rules to trade. Really helps narrow it down. So I'm glad that helped you. You know, a lot of times you just want to focus on your charts, right? John, just teach me a new setup. Teach me a new magic trick. Teach me a new holy grail. And sometimes it's really about you and your mental state and your preparedness, right? It's not always about chart setups that can really help you to be successful here. So I'm glad that helped. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about, that says Marco. That's supposed to say macro, not Marco. Let's say macro. So far we have focused on the smaller tick charts, right? On your trade charts. the micro view. We've really dug in, really zoomed in. We've talked about how order prints is the magnifying glass that zooms into the price at every level. But today we're going to talk a little bit about the macro, okay, meaning the larger, bigger picture, looking at bigger charts and how to use them. Okay, so if you've been through the sniper training, okay, you would have learned about some of this right here in this section. And I'm going to ask you to go back and check those videos out again after today, because I think they're going to make a lot more sense to you. But right here under understanding chart overviews, this one right here called superhighways, understanding the chart, this video right here, after the day you're going to want to re-watch this. It's going to make a lot more sense to you. And in this video it spends a lot of time talking to you about how you can copy these lines over onto your trading charts and, you know, different colors and stuff like that. We're not going to dig in today and spend a lot of time on that part, but I want you to watch this video again. It'll make a little more sense and you can figure out how you want to draw the lines. But macro versus micro. So let's talk real quick. One of the first charts that I want us to look at is called the 10-minute dynamic magnet chart. All right, and again, if you've been through the training, you know what this is. But basically, where do you find it? Well, if you're going here and you go to File, New Chart, and let's say you're going to do yes, and you don't want diagnostic bars, you want minute bars. All right, because this is a 10-minute chart. Okay, and right now I'm just going to load 30 days. Right here under the templates, you will find it under the sniper right here, sniper 10-minute magnets. Okay, that's the chart you're looking for, and you'll hit OK. I already actually have one open here, and this is what the chart will look like. Okay, 10-minute dynamic magnet chart. All right, so what is it? All right, well, it'll automatically plot these lines for you on the chart. Okay, and if we squeeze the chart in, we can see a lot more of them. And basically you can see where if you scroll back, you can see where the plots started from. See that? And if you're not getting enough of them, you can go back further than 30 days. If you're getting too many of them, you can do less than 30 days. But it's based on a 10-minute chart. Okay, so a little bit bigger chart than what we're used to looking at, right? We're looking at 8 and 10 tick diagnostic charts. This is a 10-minute chart. And basically what this plots is what we call high volume magnets. Okay, to where basically on these 10-minute bars, okay, and if you watch the video, Daryl kind of goes through exactly what's behind the plot. But on these 10-minute bars, these bars that have extremely high volume, then this line is plotted. Okay, it's just volume magnets, a little bit bigger view. Okay, and with like most magnets, the market can do two things. It can push away from those levels, and it can attract back to those levels, just like a magnet. Okay, these are also considered to be part of obstructions, right? We're going to talk about our obstruction rules, and hey, there's a stack of two things, a stack of three things. Dynamic magnet levels can be one of those obstructions, so they're very important to know and understand. Okay, of what they are. But you can scroll back. We can even zoom in the chart here a little bit, and you can even just look back and you can see for yourself how the market does react to these levels. Okay, and how it bounces off the levels, rejects at these levels. You can also at times expect some chop at these levels. Okay, let's just look at a couple things here. All right, so if we go back, so back here, all right, you see this level was plotted already, right? And you see this level was plotted already. Then you notice on this high volume bar, it plots a third one. So I mean, you can just kind of see this going forward, right? You see that big stack of 3. When you see around that area, especially, I mean, these levels are very powerful even on their own as a single area. But when you see a 2 or 3, a stack of them, it's probably pretty important to pay attention to those, right? I mean, notice just right here where it lays this third one. The market comes up, comes right back down to it, bounces again. Market comes right back to it, stutters right in here, right? Right back in here, hits it again and bounces, hits it again and bounces. If the market crashes way back down to this level again, and you see the market going back into this stack of 3, do you think it's something you'd want to pay attention to? Do you think it'd be an important level to look at? I mean, you want to pay attention to all of these, but especially when you see something like that, right? Now, because these are 10-minute bars, they're, those bars plot differently than our normal trading chart, and we don't have these dynamic magnet levels on our normal trading chart, right? In the video, Daryl showed you how to click on them and copy them over, but this is something to pay attention to, because let's say the market was coming back into this big level here and you had a trade set up to go short on your 8-tick chart. Do you think you'd want to do that? Do you think you'd want to trade right into that brick wall? No. But without looking at this chart and seeing these levels, you wouldn't know that, would you? Our trading chart, our diagnostic chart, shows us so much information: the order prints, the levels, and DR and OD and divergence, right? Okay. But there's certain things that we look for on these bigger charts too that would help us. Without seeing that was there, we wouldn't know. Okay. Look at, let me just find, there was a level I was looking at the other day. I'm going to really zoom in here for a second. Let me see, 27. Check out this level right here. Notice this one that was plotted way back here. See this line around 2750? Okay. So notice how the market reacts to it over and over again right here, and bouncing off of it, comes back. A couple days later, where does it come? Boom, bounces off of it, comes back later, bounces off of it. The next day, bounces off of it. Days later, bouncing off of it, more days later, bouncing off of it, right around this level. You see those there? Okay, these levels are very important. All you got to do is just go back and look, and you can see how the market plays between these very well. Okay, are there times it'll shoot through a level? Absolutely. But these are very powerful levels that you're not going to see without this chart. Okay, so I know some of you have seen this chart, you've been through the video, you weren't really sure what it was, you hadn't really used it. Definitely have this chart up to check these levels every morning, and mark these levels on your trade chart so that you know, especially if you see them line up with something else. Okay, but they're very powerful. You want to be aware of them. You want to know when the market's coming into one. You want to know what your surrounding is. You definitely want to know if it's an area like that one we just looked at, where the market seems to respect over and over again, even days later. I mean, just right, and you can see how they draw forward all the way over to the right. Just right now, though, I mean, I personally look at all of the levels, even the single levels. Okay, but I'm really paying attention to multiple stack levels, right? When I'm looking at the big market as a whole, okay, I'm seeing these double ones way down here. I'm seeing this big stack here, but also right now the market's way up here. If the market starts to plummet down over the next few days and it gets close to this double level right here, am I going to be paying attention to that? Okay. Absolutely I am. Yeah, and more can be plotted here, okay, over time. I mean, you can get them all day. You get them throughout the day. But I'm definitely going to want to be paying to this attention to this level on the bigger macro scale when the market gets into that level. If I have a trade going right into these levels, I'm going to be hesitant to take it, right? But what if I have a trade on my chart that's coming off of this area on my other chart? How am I going to feel about that? When we talk about our questions, is the market trending? Is the market ranging? Well, look what happened here around this level. Right in here, what do you think that is? Let me zoom out a little bit. Yep, some chop, some range. Okay. So when we're looking at our trade chart and we're asking ourselves, is it trending? Is it ranging? Is it chopping? Well, would it be smart to think, hey, when the market gets back here and if it touches these two levels, it might hit it just to the tick and then shoot off for a big trend? Or is it more likely to think, okay, I see the 10-minute chart getting back into this area. What can I expect will probably happen on my trade chart for a little while there? I would expect chop, or I would expect a range bound market. I can think ahead. I can see ahead to know that, right? Remember how we talked the other day about, sometimes we're so zoomed in to our trade chart because we want to see these, Xbox, we're so zoomed in that sometimes we need to zoom out as well. Okay. Hold on one second. Yeah, because it's so easy to zoom in and focus on our trade chart here, but what's the big picture? What's going on around us? Just like driving down the highway, we don't want to look at just the one car in front of us. We're looking further ahead. Is there a roadblock? Is there a traffic jam? Is traffic backed up? Okay, and so looking ahead, we can see where are these levels of high volume? Where is there a stack of it? So I should expect range then. If I see the market coming back into this, I'm expecting it to start ranging. So boom, I'm going to be looking at my trade chart, looking for that ABC, that 1, 2, 3, right? One touch, two touch, three touch, bam, confirmed, ranging. I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. I expected it. I saw it coming ahead of time. I was prepared for it because I looked ahead. Okay, so does that make sense about how to use these a little bit more, or about what they're for, or why they're important? Okay, also marking these price levels on your chart, on your trade chart. And again, this video right here, okay, we're not going to get into all that today. This video right here shows you a couple different ways of how to mark them on your other charts. Okay, so check that out as far as how you want to do that. I'm just trying to give you more of the basics of what they are and how to, make sure you utilize them. You can check out that video of how to mark them on your chart. But these can be part of an obstruction level. Let's say you have one of these on that you've copied over, and then a mini magnet's laid on top of them, and a deviation level's there as well. Do you think that would be a powerful level that you don't want to trade into? Make sense? Okay. Leonard says, should we be watching the 10-minute chart or watching the diagnostic chart with these levels copied into it? Okay. Well, what I normally do, Leonard, is every morning, if y'all remember on the tutorial last week when I kind of showed you my morning routine, and one of those very first things early in the morning was look at the big charts, look at the 10-minute charts, look at the 60-minute and the 240. I'm basically in the mornings marking these for the day onto my other chart, and then that's it. I may glance at it once in the afternoon, but I'm pretty much just looking at this chart once a day. Okay. In the mornings, like, okay, what are the levels I need to mark for today? Okay, do I already have them marked? Is there any new levels? Boom, got it. Okay, I'm not looking at this chart all day. All right, I'll look at it in the morning to first of all copy over these levels. And then I might look at it later in the day as well too, just to glance at it and see if there's anything new. and that's it. It's not something I have up all day taking up chart space. Okay, it's kind of the first thing in the morning. All right, so that's kind of how I'm using that. And once again, as far as different ways you can mark them on your chart, check out the video. It kind of walks through that step by step. Okay, so that is 10-minute magnets. Everybody understand why those are important? How they're important because they're part of obstructions, and how you won't see these unless you check this. And there used to be a more complex way of doing it. We had volume plotted down here, and you had to manually go back and mark. It's all automated for you now. You open this template, boom, boom, boom. There they are. Mark them over. Yes, Elizabeth, I do save this in my workspace. But once in the morning after I mark everything, I'm minimizing it down, and it's not taking up any chart space anywhere. I mean, it's there. You know, I can go and find it and, you know, be like, okay, here it is. But it's not in my way. It's not taking up screen space, but it is saved in my workspace. Okay? Yes. Okay. So that is 10-minute magnets. So next thing, flux levels, 60 and 240. So as you know, if you go to File, New Chart, and let's just say we're looking at ES, right? ES, minute, let's say we start with the 60-minute chart. Let's just say 60 days, right here under Chart Templates, okay? It's right here, Silver Sniper 60 or 240. Use the same template whether you're loading a 60-minute chart or a 240-minute chart, and you'd hit OK. Okay, I already have one open here. So what are flux levels? Well, let's just pull it over here. Here's a 60-minute chart. Okay, and you can go 60 or 90 days depending on your computer or how much the market has been moving. Let's see here if it changes anything. All right, the way to know if you've loaded enough days is, do you see L123, L123? If you only see L1s and 2s, if you can't see all 3 reds and 3 blues, you need to load more days. Okay, so this is a 60-minute chart. Okay, what this means is each one of these bars is an hour. Each one of these bars is 60 minutes. Okay, so every single day, every single 24-hour period, we only have 24 bars. That's a much bigger chart than what we're used to looking at, right? As opposed to a 8-tick trade chart, right? That got stuff all over the place, and this is like an hour and a half. Okay, because this is the micro, this is the very zoomed in chart that we trade off of and we look for order prints. These larger time frame charts are showing us a little bit different picture. Okay, and basically what this does is these levels that are called flux pivot levels, all right, these are what's called dynamic support and resistance levels. These levels can move throughout the day, all right, and throughout the week, and they're showing you big areas of support and resistance. Okay, so some people say, well, here we've got a level 1, a level 2, and a level 3, because that's what it'll do. It'll go 3 levels deep, top and bottom. Okay, and you could kind of see it. It makes sense, right? Like right here, L1. Well, why is that a level of support? Well, look where the market was, and then it came back there, and then it came back here, and it came back here. It's a support level. Make sense? Okay, and you can see how the market plays between these support levels very well. Now up here, it's like, well, why are all 3 of these together? Well, because this is the most recent high in the last, 60 days. There's not multiple levels up top here just yet. Does that make sense? I mean, we could go way back and that would change. Okay, but that's why they're all together here, because this is the most recent high of the market. All right. So Kevin says, when DM says use the flux level to have you look left, what does he mean? Well, what he's saying there, okay, and I'm not sure exactly what context he was saying that in, because there's different ways to do it, but kind of what I just did, which was to say, hey, look, why is this a flux level right here? Well, look to the left. You see where the market hit it, the market hit it, the market hit it, the market hit it. You can see, looking back to the left, you can see why that's a level, because that was a strong area that the market either supported or resisted. Okay, and you'll also see that sometimes in those areas there's some chop. Okay, and on the diagnostic chart, if you copy these over as well, it can tell you to look left as far as what was the market doing there. When the market got to that level, was it ranging? Was it choppy around that level? Okay. Now, we do not put these, you do transfer these flux levels over to your diagnostic chart, but we don't put the flux indicator on the diagnostic chart because it's going to plot just way too many of them. Okay. Now, you can plot these over there on your diagnostic chart, though, these bigger levels, but you don't want to put the actual flux indicator on there. Just use the pre-made templates. Okay, so that's what they are. They're just bigger term, longer term support and resistance areas. I mean, just looking at this chart right here, I mean, this goes all the way back to the 18th. Okay, I mean, this is 9 days back that you can see all on one big chart. Okay, and you can see the bigger important areas of support and resistance in the market. You also can see what is the overall market doing, right? Because you might pull up your, and I'll show you an example, you might pull up your diagnostic chart and say, oh, the DR is red, we're in a downtrend. Okay, but what's the overall trend of the market doing right now? Right? Yeah. Now, if you're just looking right here at all these hours of downtrend and you're zoomed in on that on your diagnostic chart, you're like, oh, the market's in a downtrend. Or here, ooh, the market's in a downtrend. And currently right there it was. And for our quick scalp trading, it was. But what's the overall market doing? Where are we? We're up. We're going up. I like to know that for myself. Do I trade that? No. Do I take trades off the 60-minute chart? No, of course not. But I like to know where we are. What is the long-term market doing? Are we range bound? I mean, if I'm looking at this right here on a 60-minute chart, or if I'm looking at this right here on a 60-minute chart, or this right here on a 60-minute chart, what do you think I'm seeing on my diagnostic chart? This is an hour, this is an hour, this is an hour. The market's rangy, it's choppy, right? Okay, but also let's take a look at something here. Let me show you a little something. And we're going to talk a little bit about looking left. But okay, so first of all, you understand what these flux pivot levels are, right? They're automatically plotted, dynamic support and resistance. It can move. You kind of see these big support and resistance areas in the market. You see the end zone, the playing zone, right? Where you're playing at in here. Okay, where do you have some open space between these levels? Okay, where do you have some open space between one and the other? Where to expect some support, resistance, some bounces, some ranges? I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here. I want to show you a little something. And this is something I look at. Now also, these 60-minute charts and the 240-minute charts, this is one of the other things I do every morning, first thing in the morning. I'm open up these bigger charts, marking the big levels. Where's the big levels for the day? Where's the big support and resistance for the day? Looking at the 10-minute chart, where are the dynamic magnet levels for the day? Where's the end zone? I'm playing football. Where are my end zones? Where are the big things to look at? Does that make sense? Why you want to kind of start with the big picture? Kind of like you're going on a vacation, you're going on a trip to another state, you go to Google Maps and you look at the big picture, right? Yeah, the 30,000 overall view. You know, where am I going? What are the main big highways I'm taking to this other state? What are the main big intersections? Where am I overall going? Now I'm going to zoom in and figure out where I'm going every little turn. Okay, and I want to know and I want to see these big areas. Okay, because I also want to know if I'm watching my smaller trade chart, if all we're doing is watching this chart and it's like, oh, we're starting to get a little range bound, but maybe it's just ranging for a minute and it's going to keep going, it's going to keep doing. Well, why is it getting range bound? I'm going to be looking left to see, hey, is there something back there? I'm going to be looking, I'm going to glance over and pull up the bigger charts again and say, or look at those levels and be like, well, it's about to come into one of these levels again. I'm expecting it to be range bound. I like to know ahead of time, okay? I like to know ahead of time, hey, probably expect it when it gets there. But let's look at something here. I'm going to zoom. Let's see here. That should probably be enough to zoom in. Okay. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look at something here. This is zoomed in a lot. Okay. Can you see right in here? Up, down, up, down. What would you say that is? Now this is a 60-minute chart. Okay. What would you say that is right in there? Where the market had these bars right next to each other, up, down, up, down. On a 60-minute chart, what would you kind of call that? Or right in here, up, down, up, down. Yeah, big range, range. Okay, coil. Now, coil look very different on a 60-minute chart, doesn't it? So let me draw a box. So everybody sees what I'm talking about right here, right? This little area of chop. Yes? Not hard to see, right? What if I extend that box? What happens when the market gets back in that area again? Right here. Chopped again. See it? What do we see right in here? All that. See that? What happens if I draw it over to the right? When it gets back into that area. Because we're not talking about a few ticks that went up and down. We're talking about 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. This was a time in the market that really, you know, took some time and was stuck there. You see that? What about right in here? You kind of see this area here? See all those bars in there? If I draw it out to the right, what happens when it comes back to that same area again? Fights again. Can you see that? What about all this mess right here? Draw it out to the right. A little bit of mess there too. Okay. Do you see some of that, guys? Even here. I mean, granted, this was a level, but look at this mess in here. Okay. If I just draw it out, like that's all mess. Let me show you a little different. Let's zoom in, or zoom in. Now, this is not something to sit here and do all day. Don't get wrapped up in this. But I like to be able to look back to the left. Does this understand? You understand that a little bit now? Looking back to the left. Notice here, I mean, overall, this market's coming down, right? Comes down, pulls up. Comes down, pulls up. Comes down, pulls up. Down, up, down, up. okay? So downtrend. But you kind of look here at these little areas of right here pulled up and a little choppy area there, right? See that? If I draw it over, not a whole lot, but hit there, right? Right here. See all this? Okay. Took a while. Market was stuck there. There's some interest there. What happens when I come over? Boom. It was a rejection point. Boom. It was a rejection point. Boom. Stuck there again. What if we go even further? Boom. Stuck there again. Can you see that? Make sense? Okay. When it breaks out of here, we got a nice, pretty good run up. You know, a little bit of drama in here. Clean run down. When it gets back into here again, I like to look for those, and I like to draw them forward sometimes. So I can say, hey, I may not have a dynamic magnet level there. Might not have flux levels in there, but I can see there was a fight back there. So when I see the market on this larger scale getting back in there, what do I expect? Because I looked left? Yeah. I mean, I can expect some range or some chop, right? Okay. Does that make sense? I mean, that's just more, this is not part of the sniper trait. Yes, the flux levels are. This part I'm showing you, this is just kind of some pointers. Just some things that I look at on these bigger charts. Okay, because I like to see that. I like to look back. I want to know what to expect. I want to know, I don't want to be, yeah, obviously at times we're going to just be shocked and surprised and wow, that chopper range came out of nowhere. Wow, that trend came out of nowhere. I like to be able to just look forward some myself as well to know, hey, I'm expecting this. I'm expecting some chop there. Because look what happened in the past. Because I can look left. I can zoom in, okay, and I can see that. I can see, all right, there's some crap here, expect some crap here. There's some crap here, expect. It's just market analysis. It's seeing the overall view of the market. All right, right now, look, you know, fortunately the markets are way back up, right? If the market starts coming and crashing back down over the next couple weeks, as it's coming down, am I going to be shocked, surprised when it hits resistance or range here on its way back down? No. There's no reason for me to be shocked or surprised by that. Because for one, this was a previous support resistance area, but just look at it. I'm fully expecting it. Right? I'm going to be ready for it. I'm going to be waiting for it. Okay? What about when it's coming on down into here? When I can look back and say, okay, I got a little crap right there. I got crap there. I got crap there. You know what I mean? There's crap all in here. What about if it comes on down? Where's the next area I'm going to be really expecting okay, I can see some crap there. Well, now let's draw it the other way. What do you see right here? And there, and a little bit there, but and here, and here. Like, you see it? Okay, maybe a little bit of crap there as the markets come back down. And if it breaks through that crap there, am I expecting just clean run? If it came on down? Or would the next just blindingly obvious area be crap? Right there. I mean, look at all those wicks. That's just crap. See that? Okay. So, yeah, they could be, exactly. They could be places where I want to be aware of potential chop. They could also be targets, right? Of, hey, I see those different areas and maybe there's some clear space in between them. again, one end zone to the next. Okay. So again, this is not all, this part here is not official sniper training. This is me just kind of giving you an idea of how I personally use these charts, how I kind of look over these charts. Okay, some things I do to just help me look forward. I keep talking to you a lot about if you're driving down the highway at 70 miles an hour, your eyes don't need to be at the edge of your hood. They need to be way out in front of you. See this stuff coming. Know what to expect. Don't be so surprised. Don't be so zoomed in you have no idea what the overall market is doing. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah, I'll draw some of those areas on my own charts. Okay? And I'll normally copy them over, or I'll look at them. Like I said, I don't keep these charts up. In fact, I normally only keep one set of these charts up, meaning here's a big key real quick. Well, we'll talk about this later. I've already got it. I'll cover that. I'll cover that a little bit more. Okay. Cecil asks, how early in the day are the new flux level lines ready? They're 24/7. They're around the clock because they'll move when they need to move. As new support levels are made, they can move. Okay. They're normally not moving multiple times a day. That's why I only really check them once a day in the morning, and I'll mark them. I may, if the market's crazy moving, I may take a glance at them in the afternoon to make, see if there's another one. Okay. Vincent, we're not going to get into 30 tick charts today. We can do that on another tutorial. That's a little more in depth. That is something on the list for us to try to do, though. Okay. So, makes sense what the flux levels are for? Support and resistance. A couple other ways to kind of look at the 60-minute chart there. Okay. Now we're marking the red and the blues. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit more here. Here's one other thing, and I'm going to stop everybody here. Yes, this is bootcamp tutorial basics. Some of this stuff I'm reviewing with you is part of bootcamp. A couple of these things I'm showing you here are just some of my tips and tricks. This next thing I don't want you getting caught up in. I don't want to hear you talking about it in the elite room. I don't want to see charts marked up with it. I don't want you focused on this all day. I'm just trying to help you get a picture and an understanding of just some ways that I personally look at some of these bigger charts. Okay. So, and yes, again, flux levels are obstructions. These are levels that you'll mark on your trade chart. And if there's other things on top of them that build a stack of 3, build a wall type thing, you don't want to trade into them. Okay? So, just don't get all caught up in what instrument and what date and what tick size and all this. Is this a trend, yes or no, and which direction is the market going? Downtrend. Okay? And this is an older chart. This is from a presentation I did. This is March 8th of last year. Okay? Keep that in mind for a second. March 8th. Downtrend. All right, what about now? Downtrend. Okay, and if we're zoomed in looking at our sniper trading chart, this is what we'd see. We want to know the immediate trend. We're day trading scalpers. That's all that matters, right? That's what matters. But look at this date, 2/27. Okay? Check out this chart. Which way is the trend going? Uptrend. Look at the dates. This was one of the days we just looked at. This was one of the days we just looked at. So on our zoomed in chart for that day or that time period, they looked like downtrends. On a bigger chart, the whole market was going up. That whole area was rangy on the big chart. It was going down here. Does that give you an example? I mean, it's very basic and elementary. I just would like to know overall, what is the market doing? My zoomed in trading chart might look like it's going down right now, and I want to follow downtrend rules and scalp that thing. But I want to know, what is the whole market doing? Okay, and that's just kind of a basic elementary example of why you want to be able to zoom in and zoom out. You want to look at the macro and the micro to know what's going on. That makes sense? Now, this is what I'm talking about here. I do not want to have a long discussion about trend lines. I don't want y'all talking about it in the elite room. I don't want to see charts with it. Okay, this is not part of Sniper. This is not needed. I just want to give you a couple more examples. Some of you may know what trend lines are, some of you may not. Okay, trend lines are just something very basic. When I have a, when I have a bottom, a lower low, and then I have a higher low, when I've got 2 points I can connect here, and all I can see live, let's say I was just looking at this live, all I could see is this point and this point. And if all I did was just draw this line here and extend it all the way up, okay, if all I had was these 2 points and I extended it out, well, look what happens when the market comes up and then pulls down. Comes close to where I extended that line at, where it comes up and it pulls down, just above where I extended that line out. Same here. See that when you draw it out? Just kind of gives you a sense of direction, but it also is giving me a sense of, because what do we know with trends? Do they go A to B, just boom, or do they come up and they pull down? They come up and they pull down, come up and pull down, up and pull down, right? Up and pull down. Okay, we know that's normally how they work, right? So, if I can draw this out, okay, and I've got, say, point A and point B, and I just extend that line out on these bigger charts. Well, I kind of like knowing on these bigger charts where those points could be. Because again, I'm trading off my zoomed in smaller chart, right? But if I have this drawn out and on a bigger scale, I can see, hey, we're overall in an uptrend, and I see that the bigger chart is pulling down. Well, see right here where it's pulling down? Well, on my diagnostic trade chart, that probably looks like a good downtrend, doesn't it? Yeah? But I can see on my bigger chart, it's coming close to where I drew this out. It could break on through it, but that's also going to be a good area for me to look over on my trade chart to say, hey, I may not want to trade shorts going into this for a minute. I may want to see if this is where the market could turn around. I want to see if this could be the area where it turns around and changes trend direction, right? Does that make sense? I've got this point here and I've got this point here. I've drawn this line out. When I see the bigger term chart pulling way back, it looks like a nice downtrend on my little chart, but when it's getting into here, I want to be really careful. I want to look, because the expectation would be, unless it breaks through, that might be the turning point of the market to come back. Does that make sense? It's very basic and elementary, and I don't want you getting caught up in this. It's just something I look at. Okay, yeah, it's a different way of looking at support and resistance, trend line, because this may not seem very big because of the charts we're used to, but I mean, like right in here, I mean, this is like 73.30 down to 73. I mean, that's like 50. That's like 100 and something ticks from here pulling back down. If I look over here on this chart, 150 ticks is a big deal, right? 150 ticks is going to look like a big downtrend, correct? Does that make sense? But I want to be able to know that, well, hey, it's coming back down to this area where it could bounce on the bigger scale, on the bigger view. And I want to know that. I just want to look ahead to see it. Okay? Does that make sense? Is that confusing for anyone? Has anyone ever, for some of you, this is elementary, you've been doing this for years. For any of you, is this something new? Like, oh, I never looked at that. I never saw that. I never thought of that. That's good to know. Just something to look ahead to again. Make sense? Now, let me ask you this. Let's just use this as an example. Okay? So we got this point, we got this point. So we drew this forward. Like, we didn't know what was going to happen here, right? We just drew it forward. The market came way up here and it's coming down. And the market's on this big chart coming back down close to this line we drew. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's coming close to this line, which could mean another bounce on up. And it comes down close to the line, another bounce on up. Come down to the line, right? So if right here I see the market on this bigger chart coming down close to that potential trend line, as it were. Okay? What is this move down going to look like on my trade chart? Does that make sense? I mean, this is a 60-minute chart. Market's come way up here. Now it's making this big move back down. What is that move down going to look like on my trade chart? It's going to look like a big downtrend, right? It's going to look like a downtrend. It's going to look maybe like this, right? Coming on down, or even bigger. Right? Makes sense? Probably even look like a bigger downtrend than this, right? But let me ask you a question. I've got my line, it's come way up, it's pulling back down, and on this bigger chart I can see it's pulling back down close to this bounce level. Close to that bounce level. Right in here. Everybody with me? So as it's coming down close to this trend line bounce level, on my trade chart, I see it come down 24,000. I see it come down 44,000. I see it come down 30,000. What is that right there? 44K down to 30K. Divergence. Bouncing off right here, an existing OP level. Got an ETX trade. How do I feel about that long trade? Because not only does it match up with my normal sniper rules, but I see as the market's pulling back down into that level from the big chart where it could bounce to be a good move up. When I see it coming into that level and I see divergence, potential exhaustion, potential rejection with a good trade off of it, I like that trade. And it helps me feel when I see divergence coming into that level that this longer term trend could hold. That line could hold. Make sense? Yeah. Exactly. So again, that's a little kind of bonus thing there. That's not part of sniper training. That's not something you want to look at all day. Don't sit here and have a million of these charts up. Don't sit here and be drawing lines all day. You just want to know what the overall picture is. And those are a few other reasons why. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay? Kevin's asking about 50% divergence. 50% divergence is always best. You would need 50% divergence to take a trade that had 2 clusters within 3 bars, but you don't have to have 50% divergence to take it at any time. Okay? You can have, if you're going against the trend and there's divergence, you can take the trade, but you're going to want, 50% divergence to take it if there's, too many clusters, or, to take it against a strong trending trade. But I'm just trying to give you the example of ways I'm going to look at these bigger charts as well. Okay? And the 240 minute is the same thing. All right, if we switch to 240, it's just looking at the same type of things. It's just the 240 minute bars plot, differently than the 60. It's going to show different levels of chop. It's going to show different levels of range. It's going to show different levels of flux pivots. Okay. No, I don't ever delete. Oh, yes, I'll always move them to what the most current ones are, unless there's some strong ones from back there that were hit over and over and over again. Okay. So the 240 is just a little bit different view, but it's used for basically the same thing I just showed you on the 60 minute. Everything we talked about on the 60 minute chart can apply to the 240 minute chart. Okay? Make sense? So just a few other little tidbits here. Looking at this trend here, one other thing I kind of look at, and again, don't get caught up in all this. I'm just trying to give you some basic info. Notice how market came down, pulled up, came down, pulled up, came down, up, down, up, down, up, right? So as the market's going, it's finding, it's finding support, it's finding resistance, right? Finding support, finding resistance. Well, on this way down, as it comes back up, finds support, then comes down, hits some resistance. Finds support, comes down, hits resistance. Finds support, comes down, hits resistance. Notice on the way down, this was kind of the last big pullback support resistance area before coming on down, right? So notice as the market shoots up, breaks through that level, then it comes down and finds what? Right here. Shoots up, comes back and finds what? Right here. Notice how that same level, where it was the support level for the downtrend, now becomes the new support level for the new uptrend. See how there's a switch in support resistance there? You see that? Okay, you can kind of see that pretty easy on some bigger charts here. As the market's coming down, go down and pull up, down and pull up, down and pull up, right? Well, in this area here was the last support areas for the downtrend. As it breaks through that support, then comes back, and now the new long trend finds support at that same area. Okay, it's another thing I do kind of look for with some of the bigger charts. Okay, is where did the previous support for that trend direction break and become the new support for another trend direction? Where's the switch in trend? Okay, that makes sense. Let's see here. If you're trading, use 62 and 240 if you're trading yes, or do you use NQ? What was supporters now resistance? Okay, Rick, you're asking you use ES60 and 240 if you're trading ES, and do you use NQ? Yeah, whatever I'm trading, I'm going to look at a 10 minute, a 60 minute, and a 240 minute. But look, you only need one set of these charts. Okay, meaning Elizabeth asked earlier, hey, do you have this in your workspace? Yes, in my workspace I have a 10 minute dynamic magnet level, I have a 60 minute and a 240 minute. I'm hopping up in the morning and I'm looking at them. Okay, and the biggest thing is I'm hopping up in the morning looking at them to find these levels, and then I'm putting those levels on my trade chart. Okay, I don't have these charts open all day and up. In fact, I only have one set of them. What I mean by that is, okay, open ES on a 60-minute. Okay, got my flux levels for the day. I transfer them over to my trade chart. Then I'm just going to go right up here and say, okay, now let me flip over to NQ. Let it pull up NQ. Okay, here's my levels I need to mark on NQ. Move those over. If I'm trading an MNQ or something else, I flip over to that. Mark my. I'm not having a 10-minute, 60-minute, and 240-minute on NQ, and then another 10, 60, and 240 on ES, and then another 60, 240 on MES. No, I just have one, okay, that I can flip through the instruments to see. Don't take up a bunch of chart space and computer resources. That makes sense? Everybody understand how to do that? Okay. Just have one 10-minute chart, 160 and 240. And then just switch between the instruments. Okay, got it. Marked my levels. Okay, got it. Mark my levels. Switch to the next instrument. And then just minimize that chart and get it out of the way. Focus on your trade chart. If later in the day you want to take a peek at it, pop it back up, flip through some instruments, minimize it. Get it out of your way. All right? Switch through instruments, save your resources. Okay, so can everybody see how you do want to have both a micro view and a macro view? And you understand that these dynamic levels on the 10-minute and how the flux levels and the flux levels on the 60 and 240 are obstructions. Okay? And those are things that need to be transferred over to your trade chart to help be an obstruction level for knowing when not to trade. Okay? Because we've talked about knowing when not to trade is sometimes more important than simply knowing how to press a button and the simple entry rules. And we talked a lot about this is what separates the 90% that fail from the 10% that make it, is knowing when to trade and when not to trade. Okay? So guys, a little bit different tutorial today. Covered some of the basics there on those charts and how to use them, and I tried to give you a little bit, a few little tidbits on some other ways to look at those larger charts and how to look at the overall market. Okay, but did that help at all to look in some, because we're so used to zooming in on our little trade chart, right? Did that help at all to look at the bigger picture and some ways to, because I know some of you are like, yeah, I don't really look at that 60 or 240 chart. I don't really understand that. What's the point of it? Why are those levels important? Okay. So those are some reasons and some ways to go through it. I had planned to kind of go back through all these levels here, the single level obstruction rules, the ETX obstruction rules, and the general sniper obstruction rules, but we've run way over. So what I want to do here is, because now that we've gone through these larger charts and you understand how those levels are important as obstructions as well, I want you to really go back and understand the obstructions in general. But if you go here to where the tutorial recordings are, this video right here, getting ahead of obstructions, and in here it's covered very clearly the exact obstructions of when to take and when not to take a trade. And now if you have a little better understanding how those levels that are transferred over to your trading chart, go into that, hopefully you have a little better understanding of that. Okay. Can we do the 30 tick chart sometime, Nicola? Yes, I'll put that on the list. We'll cover a 30 tick chart. I know that some of you have heard Lori and others talk in the room about how they use a 30 tick chart as well. I'll get that on the list for tutorials to kind of do a basic walkthrough of the 30 tick, what to look for and how we use it, and so on. Okay, so hope that was helpful there. We didn't go quite as in depth into some things here on this webinar. It was more just seeing that overall bigger picture and knowing when not to trade, helping to understand to look ahead and look forward, know to ask yourself these tons of questions every day, over and over again. Just a reminder, investing in your business, the discount plans. Once again, if you are on the Apex website, no matter where you are on the website, you can go right up top here under menu links and go right here, sign up for any plan or product. Okay. And once again, if you're still in the middle of your free boot camp, or if you're still in the middle of your $1 trial for 30 days, but you don't want to miss out on the discount here, just go ahead and sign up, send us a ticket in the help desk. We'll look up how much free trial time you still have left, and we'll add it on to your first billing where you won't get billed right after this. You'll still be able to take advantage of your free trial time. Okay. For those of you that are wanting to get the semi-auto trading software and want to get rolling with that, even if you're new, even if you're on boot camp, you can get the software. It's right here under automation. So click there to get more information on the software. Okay. So what I want you to do is between now and next Wednesday's tutorial, we're going to be covering it's going to be some basics, some walkthrough, some putting some things together of how to get yourself from a B grade to an A grade. But between now and then, make sure to pay a little more attention to these larger charts, the 10-minute dynamic magnets, the 60 and 240 flux levels. Make sure you're marking those. Make sure you're getting those on your trade charts now that you understand how important those are. Rewatch the videos of chart basics. Some of you are asking questions about, well, how do I copy them over from the 60-minute chart to my trading chart, or what are some different ways to do that? If you go back here to the sniper page, and right here, understanding the chart overview basics, superhighways. Rewatch this video. Not only will this make a lot more sense to you now, as Daryl's teaching how to use them and ways to use them and things he looks at, but also how to get them marked and copied over to other charts. I think will make a lot more sense to you now. So rewatch those, rewatch the webinar on obstructions, but start paying a little more attention to these larger charts. Okay, not only do you want to be asking yourself, right now, zoomed in on my trade chart, is the market trending? Is it ranging? What is it doing? But also, what does the big picture say? Okay, on the big picture, are we trending or ranging? On the big picture, are we coming back into an area that was choppy before when I look left? Should I be expecting chop? I want you to really focus about thinking ahead, looking ahead, and seeing what's coming up your way. Okay. And again, it's one of the things that the 90% does not do. They don't look ahead or look at the whole picture. They're focused on one thing, and we want you to be a part of the 10%. Okay. So specials are on the page. Check out Markers Plus. Those are your assignments. Be in the elite room early every day. Again, some of you are getting in late after 3 winning net trades have already been taught and people are leaving. Okay, try to be in there early as you can. And next week's tutorial is scheduled for Wednesday. Again, to get that link, go to the bootcamp page here. Go down to number 2. And you'll have a full list of the upcoming webinars that Daryl is doing and the tutorials that I'm running here. Just click here to sign up. Okay. Caesar said, learn something new every webinar. Awesome. That was great. Let's see here. Do you pay for the special now? Will you be able to end your free months? Jay, to get the special, you would sign up and pay for the special now. Like for that, that special, for example, that's 4 months. You pay $600. That gives you the next 4 months. And then month 5, you would start paying $200 a month. Well, But if you've still got several weeks or over a month left on trial stuff, we just move that first $200 payment back, you know, so that you pay the 600 now, you get those 4 months, plus you've got another month or month and a half. You may not get another bill for, you know, 4, 5, 6 months, however, you know, whatever you got left. So, I mean, you can do it either way. We just want to make sure that you can take advantage of the special while it's there, but we also don't want people losing their trial time. Because I know people are like, look, I still got another week of boot camp, then I got that whole $1 for 30 more days. I don't want to lose out on 5 free weeks and start paying now, but I don't want to lose out on the discount. Well, we'll let you do both. Just sign up for the special now, shoot us a ticket, we'll adjust your next billing to make sure you still get that time, and that way you know you're set, you've invested in your business, you've got that access for 4 or 5 months, you've got your Lilu, you're set. You can just focus on what you got to do. Okay? Matt says, great webinar, one of the best in my opinion. This is great info that we haven't discussed much, but you know most of the market is looking at these kind of... Awesome, Matt. Great. Jeff, will you be sending, posting, recording this webinar today? Absolutely. Give me just a little bit. It will be posted on the page. It'll be on Facebook. It'll be on YouTube. Give me a couple hours. I'll get it out everywhere. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great one. Remember to go sign up for those specials while they're there and be in the Elite Room tomorrow. We'll see you next week on the next tutorial. Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all being on here. I appreciate all the feedback and correspondence back and forth. I hope these tutorials have been worth your time. And if so, we will keep doing some. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a great one. I appreciate it. Bye for now.